Hi, welcome to Relationship Talk with Laura. It's good to be here with you today. Today we are going to talk about 2 communication traps that people get themselves into. They are name calling and blaming, the blame game. You've heard of that. These can be so devastating that they can cause the breakup of relationships, whether it's friends, neighbors, or loved ones. And certainly in relationships with our spouses, it can end in divorce. Let's start with name calling. What is name calling? You know what it is. You've heard it before. You jerk. You are so mean. You are cruel. You're an idiot. And you're fat. You're so fat you can't fit through the door. That's name calling. And of course, a lot worse, crude, lewd, and rude words that we are too polite to use on this show. You get the picture. And swearing is in that category too. So when does blaming start? Certainly when we're 3 and 4, we don't have the skills to talk very well, and certainly not the skills to express our feelings or emotions. That's why you'll see children throw themselves down on the ground and literally throw a tantrum. By the time children go to grade school, it escalates. And for some reason, it starts on the playground. You've heard it. You're an idiot. You're so terrible at sports. You're clumsy. You couldn't do anything even if you wanted to. You're terrible. And many worse things. It's sad. And we ask the question, well, why do children do this? It's kind of a backhanded way of giving themselves a compliment, because by saying you're stupid, they're saying, I'm smart, aren't I wonderful? And also, it is a way of controlling other children and feeling better about themselves in a very bad way. Usually they have low self-esteem. Now, name calling is such a problem that in schools all over the United States, most schools dedicate 1 week to what they call the No Name Calling Week. They read books and they raise and heighten awareness and teach children why they call each other names and to not do it. It's really a marvelous thing. You've probably heard of the book Blubber by Judy Blume. It was written 20 years ago and it still is very viable today. It's the story of Jill, who tells the story about how she wanted to be with the popular girls. And unfortunately, they weren't a good influence on her, and she finds herself calling a fat girl in the class blubber. Ugh, can you imagine how damaging that would be to your psyche? Now let's take a look at what happens with adults who call each other names. Let's go to Rika Miller, a professional actress in Hollywood, and Spencer Mickelson, a professional actor in Hollywood, as they act out a scene on name calling.
I don't know, I don't really feel like going to the beach. You just want to see a movie?
Oh, you are such a jerk.
Why am I a jerk? I just want to see a movie instead of going to the beach.
You always want to go see a movie. We never go to the beach. Gosh, you are so selfish.
How am I selfish? I just said what I wanted.
Yeah, you always say what you want because that's always what we end up doing. We never do what I want. Your mother raised such a little brat.
You'll notice that Rika, when she doesn't get her own way, starts name-calling Spencer. She calls him a jerk. She claims that he always gets his own way. Of course, there's no such thing as always and never, but she does. And what does she do? She immediately puts him on the defensive. And when he is on the defensive, he then ceases to understand her point of view. So now let's take a look at Rika and Spencer acting it out in the right way.
I mean, I kind of don't feel like going to the beach. I don't know, maybe want to go see a movie tonight?
Oh, okay.
well, movies are fine. I'd love to go see a movie with you. I kind of had my heart set on the beach, though. If we don't go tonight, would maybe going another day during the week be okay? Could we plan that?
Sure, I just kind of feel low energy, so maybe movie tonight and beach tomorrow?
Sure.
That way we can both get what we want?
I'll agree to that.
Awesome.
Okay, let's go.
The difference between this scene and the previous one is a drive for solution and resolution. You'll notice in this case, Rika doesn't blame him. She doesn't name call him. Instead, she listens to Spencer, and Spencer says, look, I just don't feel like going to the beach. Well, that's a pretty legitimate reason, isn't it? But when she suggests, how about if we watch a movie tonight for you, and then tomorrow we go to the beach, guess what? He's happy to accommodate her. We have to remember that we get married or we're with a person because we love them. We love them. We want to make them happy. And so name calling is the opposite of making someone happy. And it's assuming the absolute worst about a person. Now, I really want you to get this. So we're going to play both scenes over again so that you can watch and see if you make the mistake that the actors do. So let's see the wrong way one more time.
I don't know, I don't really feel like going to the beach. You just want to see a movie?
Oh, you are such a jerk.
Why am I a jerk? I just want to see a movie instead of going to the beach.
You always want to go see a movie. We never go to the beach. Gosh, you are so selfish.
How am I selfish? I just said what I wanted.
Yeah, you always say what you want because that's always what we end up doing. We never do what I want. Your mother raised such a little brat.
Did you get that? Remember, she accuses. She accuses through her name calling, and she defeats the very purpose for the communications. Now let's see the right way and memorize the actions that they take.
I kind of don't feel like going to the beach. I don't know, maybe want to go see a movie tonight?
Oh, okay. Well, movies are fine. I'd love to go see a movie with you. I kind of had my heart set on the beach, though. If we don't go tonight, would maybe going another day during the week be okay? Could we plan that?
Sure, I just kind of feel low energy, so maybe movie tonight and beach tomorrow?
Sure.
That way we can both get what we want?
I'll agree to that.
Awesome.
Okay, let's go.
Doesn't it make you happy just listening to this conversation? It does me. It makes me smile because Rika is so sweet in this communication. She assumes the best, and most importantly, she listens to her mate, and then lastly, they come up with a resolution, a solution that makes both of them happy. Let's go back to another ramification of name calling. A psychiatrist and professor, Dr. Martin Teichert, did a study on name calling and verbal abuse. He studied children who had been verbally abused, and he compared them to children who had been physically or even sexually abused. And his findings proved that verbal abuse was just as harmful, and in fact it caused brain damage. Did you hear that? Brain damage. This was printed in the Harvard Gazette on February 1st, 2009. Thank you, Dr. Teichert, for that amazing study. It's a sobering thought. So when you think about name calling, think twice, because you are actually causing brain damage to the person that you are talking to. Now I would like to tell you a story about a couple who came to me for counsel and advice. It was a couple that had been married for 16 years. They had 4 lovely children, ages 14, 12, 10, and 8. Every 2 years they had a child. And they reported that the children were happy, they did well in school, they were in sports, that they felt very blessed by their children. But the reason that they had come to me was because the wife had been having an affair for 1 month. And the husband was absolutely mystified. He couldn't figure out what on earth was wrong. What went wrong in the marriage? He thought that they were perfectly happy. They had vacations together. Everything seemed to be going just fine as far as he was concerned. So, like any good therapist, I went to the bedroom first. And I asked him, well, how is your love life? And he said, fantastic. We've always had regular sex up until this last month. And I thought it was great. I loved it. My wife has always satisfied me. I thought I satisfied her. I thought we were perfectly happy in that department. And then I turned to his wife and I said, how about you? How do you feel about your bedroom activities? To which she replied, I hate it. Of course, he was shocked. What? And I said, what's wrong? She said, well, for 16 years, when we're lovemaking, he calls me whore, slut, and a lot of other words that I will not repeat because they're dirty, they're filthy, they're foul. And he's made me feel terrible, so terrible in my life. And furthermore, instead of calling me sweet names, he calls me Miss Piggy. He makes me feel like I'm Daddy's little fatty, and I'll always be fat. You know, like Miss Piggy on the Muppet Show. Well, I turned to the husband. He hung his head and he turned 6 shades of red. I knew it was true. But I asked him, is this true? Yes. But then he defended himself. I thought it was okay to call her slut and whore, and it was just all in fun. I didn't really mean she was a slut or a whore, and I thought everything was just fantastic. To which she interrupted and said, oh, I've told you hundreds of times I hated it. I've tried to get you to say nice things to me, but you just never will. You never learn. Never learn. After 16 years, I gave up. I gave up. And then calling me Miss Piggy. I told you I didn't like to be called Miss Piggy. I wanted to be called nice things like other people. You know, babe, sweetheart, something. But now you call me Miss Piggy, Miss Piggy. I hate it. Miss Piggy, get me the dishes. Miss Piggy, did you do my laundry? Miss Piggy, you need to vacuum the floors. Yeah, well, I'm sick of it. I turned and I looked at her and I said, wow. How come you stood this for 16 years? With a solemn look, she said, because I felt like I wasn't worth anything else. He made me feel like I was a slut and a whore. He made me feel like I was fat, and I thought, well, I guess I'm not worth anything for anyone else. I couldn't get another man. And then 6 months ago, she said, a man was hired at work to be one of her colleagues. She started working with him on projects. He was so respectful, so kind to her. And then he started to call her Angel. You're my angel. Oh, you sure helped me solve that problem today. And then he started calling her beautiful. And then a month ago, he told me that he loved me. And that's when the affair began. He made me feel like I was special. I turned to the husband and said, did you hear that? What have you done to her? He said, I guess I drove her out of the home, didn't I? You said it. He was so shocked he hadn't realized what he had been doing. Even though she had told him multiple occasions, it took something this dramatic for him to come to his senses and finally listen to what she had to say. I'm happy to report Good news. Guess what? He changed. After only a couple of sessions, he started calling her Angel, sweetheart, telling her how beautiful she was, changed their patterns in the bedroom. And now they're a happily married couple, and they always send me a Christmas card and thank me for drawing attention to the terrible communication trap that he had fallen into. Well, now let's go to some questions. Andrew from Kentucky. My wife frequently calls me a bastard and tells me I'm a loser. What should I do? It's unacceptable, isn't it? Bet it makes you feel terrible. All right, this is what you do. Take her out to dinner and then calmly say to her, when you call me these names, it makes me feel this high. I'm miserable. I don't like it. My self-esteem has gone down. And I'm asking you kindly, don't do that anymore, please. I will be so grateful. And then if she doesn't change and she keeps calling you these dreadful names, set a boundary. When she starts, you turn and you walk away. And then later say, please don't call me these names. If she still doesn't change, then please call a therapist in your area and get some help. You deserve it. My boyfriend tells me I am fat every day. He tells me that I could never get another man but him because he is so open-minded and looks beyond me being fat. He wants me to lose weight, and I try and then eat for comfort's sake. First of all, you're not married to him. You deserve a great boyfriend who loves you for you, who compliments you and doesn't care whether you're fat or thin, who wants to grow old with you, not caring if you end up 80 years old and wrinkled. Someone who loves you and your marvelous qualities. If you want to, you can tell him and ask him to change. If he doesn't change, this is my answer. What does Daisy May say?
But I'd head for the hills.
That's right, get a new boyfriend. This email came a few days ago from Tina. When do you know when a relationship can't be fixed? I am trying to fix my marriage and not sure my husband is willing to participate. Things were great then because we are stressed financially. He wants to give up and I can't seem to do anything right. I really want my marriage to work and have been trying. I love him so much, I need help. I don't know what to do right now to even try to fix the marriage. First of all, I would like to see you go to a therapist. This is something you really need to talk out and get expert help on. And just in one sentence, I can't do this justice, but you deserve to get the help that you need. My son calls me stupid a lot. What should I do? Get some books immediately and talk to him about name calling. You can teach him and he can turn into a fine young man. My mother tells me I'm ungrateful for all she has done for me and puts me down. What should I do? Put downs, that's unacceptable, but you are a child. And so ask yourself, humble yourself. Ask yourself if you're not being grateful. Try giving your mother compliments. Try thanking her for the wonderful things that she does for you. And then if she keeps putting you down, then see if you can go to counseling. And I recommend you read the play, Our Town, by Oscar Wilde. It's absolutely wonderful, and it will change your whole view of your mother. All right, let's look at the second communication trap that we wanted to handle today, and it is called the blaming game. What is blaming? Basically, just that. It's blaming somebody for everything that goes wrong. Let's go look at our professional actors, Rika Miller and Spencer Mickelson, and watch how they show us what not to do.
Hey.
Hi. So where's the food?
What food?
You ignored my texts all day.
I didn't ignore your text. I was in meetings until 8 p.m. I didn't get a chance to even glance at my phone.
I texted you to bring dinner. Come on, this is so typical. You come home and then act like I'm the idiot that wasn't communicating all day.
I never called you an idiot, and I've been working 14 hours today. I walk in the door and you're yelling at me.
You probably talk to people like this at work, don't you?
Okay, don't change the subject. You're trying to make me feel bad about something that isn't my fault. You know what? I'm not dealing with this. I'm going to bed.
Isn't that sad how blaming immediately ruins the whole mood of everything, rather than being solution focused? Now let's look at the solution that they come up with.
Hi, honey.
Hey.
Did you forget the food?
What food?
Oh, you probably didn't see my text then. I texted you earlier today asking you to bring dinner home.
No, I'm sorry. I was in meetings until 8 p.m. I didn't even get to look at my phone.
Do you read my texts when I send them to you, or is there a better way to get in touch?
You know, my phone is more adamant about showing like voicemails.
Okay.
So I try texting, but then also, if I don't respond, maybe leave me a message.
Okay, I'll just try them both then.
Okay. Sorry, honey.
Want to order takeout?
Yes. I'll go get the menu.
Notice how rather than playing the blaming game, they listen and assume the best and come up with a marvelous solution. Let's look at another scenario, another scene of Rika and Spencer doing it the wrong way.
Where have you been? You're an hour late.
I'm sorry, I got lost.
You got lost? How?
What do you mean how? It's Los Angeles. You take one wrong turn and you're lost for an hour.
I gave you very specific directions.
Yes, and they were difficult to follow. I'm sorry.
Difficult to follow? It's left, right, and straight. How have you not known that since you were 3? Come on! I mean, it's not like this is the first time we've been here either. You've been here 4 times. Are you gonna tell me you can't remember in your brain a place you've been 4 times?
I said I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. I'm not good with directions.
Yeah, you're definitely not good with directions at all. Ever.
Now let's look at the right way.
Hi. Oh, I was starting to worry about you. Are you okay?
It took forever to get here. I took so many wrong turns. I'm sorry.
Oh, honey, I know that's so frustrating for you. I'm glad you made it.
I'm just not that good with directions.
You know what? That's okay. You are more important than this event, so I'm just glad you're here.
I would have texted you, but I was driving.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't. That's okay. Not worth the ticket.
Okay.
Okay, I'm glad you're here now.
Should we go get dinner?
Yeah, let's go in.
Let's go.
Okay.
What I like about this scene is that Rika accepts Spencer for his weakness. He isn't good at directions. Rather than blaming him, she loves him for who he is and then tries to come up with a solution that will do for that particular situation. Great examples. Now, there are different kinds of blaming, the everyday things and then the extraordinary and catastrophic things that happen to us. I'd like to tell you a story about a couple that came to me that had a catastrophe happen in their life. They played the blame game and it ended up separated. The husband explained to me that they had had a great marriage until their 3-year-old daughter drowned in their swimming pool. He blamed the wife. She was a stay-at-home mom, and she was on the telephone talking to her girlfriend while their daughter Bella was napping. She didn't see the little girl slip out of the bedroom and go through the sliding doors in another room out to the backyard. And we don't know exactly what happened, but back in that day and age, they didn't have a law that fences had to be around swimming pools. So to make a long story short, he blamed her every day that it was her fault that Bella would be alive if she hadn't been on the phone talking. Well, of course, she blamed herself too. She felt terrible about what she had done. Fortunately, they both came in to see me. I listened to her narrative, tell me, cry about how horrible she felt. But she said all those naps that little Bella had, there was never a problem before. I've been talking on the phone to my girlfriend the same time every day for all these years while little Bella had her naps and nothing ever happened before. So how could I have ever known? What was I to do? Am I supposed to be a helicopter parent? Am I supposed to be watching her every second of every day, or need technology where I have monitors all over my house in every room so I can see where she is at any given time? Of course not. Who would have known? It really was the unforeseen. But she did feel guilty about leaving the sliding door open from the family room. She beat herself over and over for that. Now I turned to the husband and I said, okay, is there any chance that you have any guilt over this? You're blaming your wife only, and she is, goodness knows, blaming herself. To which he said, yes, I actually do blame myself. I sometimes wonder if I was the one who left the sliding door open, because you know what? Bella oftentimes cries when she gives me a hug and kiss and I leave to go to the office. And so this time I wanted to sneak out of the house with all that drama, so I went out the sliding doors of the family room. And maybe it was I who left the door open. Oh, what a revelation. Suddenly he began to burst into tears. And he turned to his wife and apologized and said, I am so sorry. I have been blaming you all this time. Can you forgive me? And she said, can you forgive me? And they hugged, they kissed, they made up, and they vowed they would never play the blaming game again. And now it's been a lot of years and they're still together, happily married, because they learned a great lesson: how to avoid the blame game. So today, we have been talking about two very important communication traps. We have learned how not to name call. We've learned, in fact, that it is damaging to the brain. We do not want to be responsible for damaging another person. And by name calling, we're just unfortunately trying to raise our own self-esteem, and we avoid finding a resolution. And then the blame game, we're not thinking the best about our mate. And so it's my challenge to you this week that you're going to go a whole week, a no name calling week, just like they do in school, and no blaming. And see if you can be like my professional actors from Hollywood, Rika and Spencer, who figured out how to communicate correctly. And so today that concludes our relationship talk. Make it a great week.